So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Give me just a second so that I can prepare the presentation that I'm going to share with you, and we'll be ready to start in a second. Okay. All right, fine. So, yeah, I think it's about time we start speaking in English. So, thank you for your patience. My name is Jarmila Tomanová. I am an ELT consultant working for Ventures Books, and the first webinar today is going to be with me. Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much for the confirmation that you can see me and hear me. I hope that it's clear. In case that you have some technical issues, please you can share it in the chat window on the right-hand side. My colleagues are going to be present during the webinar, so they should be able to help you. It might be a good idea to use Chrome or Mozilla Firefox instead of Internet Explorer, but I'm not an expert on these matters, so hopefully everything is going to work for us today. It's great to see so many people here who are motivated, you know, to educate themselves and hopefully to learn something new today. It's not that easy to stay motivated in this difficult era that we are experiencing at the moment. So fingers crossed for everybody, good health, and let's enjoy today. I hope that we can make your day a bit special today. So the name of the webinar is multiple ways of using video in English classes. I'm going to share some videos with you today and some ideas how you can use videos in your lessons. We are going to focus on older students, let's say, we can say upper secondary, or maybe even adult students. I'm sure that you teach all different group ages, all different age groups of students. So I hope that you can really apply those ideas in your lessons. Just a few points about the housekeeping. So we have approximately an hour for the webinar. Then you are going to have a 15-minute break approximately. At the end of this webinar, there's going to be a quiz, so you can win some prizes. And you can also ask or apply for some free samples, because based on these sessions, we are going to distribute some books for free. So if you are interested, you can ask for that as well. All right, so let's not waste any more time and let's start. Okay, right. So here you can see a typical picture from the cinema. Unfortunately, we cannot really go at this time, but they have this saying in English: a picture is worth 1,000 words, which is definitely true. I think sometimes picture can really save you a lot of words, and it expresses a lot. And it's definitely true about video as well, as video is a moving picture with sound as well. So that's what we are going to focus on today. All right, because this webinar was originally based on a business English book and some business English videos, but we are going to talk about soft skills a lot today. So I'm sure that the things you are going to hear today are transferable. We are going to start talking about business English. Hopefully we have here some teachers who are experienced business English teachers. I used to teach in companies myself. So yeah, it's a bit different. Maybe you can agree with me. It's a bit different to teach those business people compared with, let's say, adult students or, just students at school. So how would you define a typical business person? What are your ideas? Could you write some ideas in the chat window, please? The picture from the movie could help you with some stereotypes, how we imagine a typical business person. Yeah, busy, definitely. Business people are always busy. They can be very critical, that's true, and they are serious, yeah. Sometimes it takes time to build rapport with them, and you really need to gain their attention and their trust, and it's not that easy. Yeah, demanding, definitely. They want to see results very quickly, and of course, languages, they take time, so it's not as fast as they might like very often. Organized, systematic, yeah, this is perfect, right? So maybe sometimes you give them homework and they always bring it and it's always perfect. So that's great when it's like this. They're effective, yeah, exactly. They want everything to be efficient, so you need to prepare well for your lessons. Yeah, self-confident, that's true. Maybe sometimes a bit bossy. Yeah, that can be. Sometimes, they are in a position where when they feel that they are important. Go oriented, definitely, yeah. So it's also good to always tell them at the beginning of the lesson what you are going to focus on. Yes, stressed out, that's true. Okay, what else do we have there? Hardworking, yes, definitely. Strict, yeah. So just to sum it up, I would say they can be really stressed, hardworking. That means that they don't have that much time, and they really want the lessons to be efficient, um, which is not very easy for us as teachers. Maybe sometimes you have only one lesson per week. Sometimes the lessons are being cancelled, so it's really difficult sometimes to approach these students. What are their reasons to study business English? What would you say? Why do people study business English? For the job, yeah, definitely. To get a promotion, yeah, to make business abroad, definitely. So, yeah. So to communicate within the company, with partners who are foreigners, for example, English as a lingua franca. Uh, yeah, to get a promotion, that's something you have mentioned as well. Yeah, to be perfect, yeah, to have this like to make impression maybe sometimes. Yeah, if people work for corporate companies, they definitely need English. Maybe sometimes it can be if they improve their language skills, they might be able to get a better job. Or maybe for students at universities or at secondary schools, it can be a motivation to find their very first job. Yeah, for conferences, yeah, for all different professional meetings, definitely. For online meetings, we have one online meeting today at the moment. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, um, to understand, and not only the language, but also to understand some cultural differences, different traditions. We live in a globalized world, so it's necessary. And also, a reason to study English can be to avoid some misunderstandings and some embarrassing situations. And yeah, to be understood. Yeah, that's perfect. The first video I'm going to show you, just to warm you up a bit, is a video you might have seen it before, and it's a video when there is one big misunderstanding which really complicates the life of the people. So give me just a second and I will show you the video.
What's the buttons?
Oh no, they installed voice recognition technology in this lift. I heard about this.
Voice recognition technology? In a lift? In Scotland? You ever tried voice recognition technology?
No.
They don't do Scottish accents.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
11!
11. 11.
11!
Could you please repeat that?
11.
Whose idea was this? You need to try an American accent. 11! 11!
That sounds Irish, no American.
What, doesn't it? 11!
Where in America is that? Dublin?
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that?
Try an English.
So that was the first video, yeah. You might have seen it before on YouTube. It's from BBC, I think. So yeah, voice recognition technology can complicate our lives as well. Sometimes technologies do that. I'm not really a great user of these things sometimes. So I hope that you enjoyed the first video. And we are going to talk about accents today as well. So we are within the topic, I can tell you. So let's move on. So yeah, teaching business English, or maybe we can say soft skills in general, which are quite often a part of business English lessons, can be very challenging for the teacher. As we have mentioned before, business English students are not typical students. You need to prepare differently for those lessons. The lessons really need to be efficient. So there's a great pressure on us to prepare proper, interesting lessons that would make our students motivated. Also, our students, very often, they are experts in their field, but maybe we are not experts in their field. So the vocabulary knowledge can be quite complicated for us. So that's another thing to consider when you are preparing for those lessons. Of course, choosing the right material, that can help us a lot. We can be overwhelmed if you don't have some specific material that you follow with your students. It can be really time consuming getting ready for those lessons. So hopefully today I'm going to bring some ideas that might help you with teaching those students who are not that easy to please. So I hope that there are some messages that some people cannot hear or see, but I hope that most people can see me because the mic is on. Yeah, okay, so some people can see me, so that might be some technical issue. So maybe try to refresh the page. That might help. All right. So one of the ways how to make our lessons more interesting are videos in the classroom or in the office, especially nowadays when we are stuck at home. A video is a great way how to educate students. If they are autonomous enough, they can work with videos themselves, or you can just give them instructions and they can follow the video on their own. And this is true for both. For the students, today's teenagers, they are obsessed with videos. I would say they spend so much time on YouTube and all different kinds of media. And video is definitely a very common thing in offices and in the corporate world, as there are those video conferences. People use Skype on everyday basis. Even trainings happen via videos. So it's very common for people in companies as well. So why not use it and make the students motivated and engaged in the lessons? So video, in fact, is very similar to listening activities. So let's have a look at some, let's say, general principles, how teaching receptive skills happens. Today I'm going to be using two books. At the end of the session, as I have said before, you can apply for free samples. So in this webinar, it's going to be Business Partner, a new business English book from Pearson, and High Note. High Note is a brand new book for upper secondary students, or so students getting ready for maturita, or students getting ready for their university entrance exams. It's a brilliant book. A lot of soft skills videos are included there. So let's have a look at those receptive skills. So yeah, first of all, you need to choose material, being it from books, or there's plenty of material online, so you can use that as well. I would be really careful about how much time you spend doing it, because most of you definitely would agree with me that choosing material online can be extremely time consuming, and you can be really overwhelmed by the amount. So choose material wisely. Then the first part of the lesson is always a lead-in, where you activate the schema, which is, according to Mr. Cook, the pre-existent knowledge of the world. So activating the schema really helps the students to tune in. They get some general idea what the lesson is going to be about, and they can already start thinking about it, so they can activate the vocabulary that's in their head, and so on. Yeah. Another point would be a gist task. So gist task is that's one of the first tasks when, after introducing the topic, you just go through your material for the first time with the students, and you want them to get some general idea about the topic for today's lesson. Then there's a specific information task. So that means you go into detail. Maybe you listen or you watch the video for the second, for the third time. You ask about details from the video. You want your students to focus on details and go into depth. And then at the end, or towards the end of the session, there should be some productive task, because of course we want our students to use language actively. So after showing them the model language, they should be able, or they should at least try to produce actively some piece of language, try to repeat the task with them. Maybe there can be a role play task or something like that, where they activate what they have learned during the lesson. So now here are some ideas for lead-in activities. So it can be just a discussion of some comments, so that you present some ideas and the students should comment on these statements, whether they agree or disagree. Always ask why, because why, it's an open-ended question, so students really can come up with a lot of ideas. Here we have another option, which is choosing from 4 options to finish a statement. Yeah. So yeah, something for our students that might be a popular question. Text messaging is convenient, a time waster, an annoying interruption, something I never use. I'm not sure about today's students. Maybe they don't use text messaging anymore. Maybe they use all those WhatsApps and I don't know, all these different devices and applications. Maybe text messaging is old-fashioned nowadays. I still use it myself. So this would be choosing from options. Or here students should express their own attitude by ticking what applies to them personally. Here we are talking about eating and their eating habits. There's going to be one video connected with this topic. So yeah, so they can choose from these options. Of course, presenting options, it makes the students' life a bit easier, because there is something they can start thinking about. You know, it might be too difficult for them if you just ask them, what are your eating habits, or what do you think about eating in public, etc. So this can really help them. Or we can use some pictures. So here we have some signs, safety signs, let's say, and here students should be matching sentences 1 to 5 with the end A to E. And of course, at the very end, there is a personalized question. If we can use some personalization, I would always go for it, as students can relate to the topic, and then it could make them really feel that it's something that's connected with them, that it's not just some abstract topic you are going to cover in the lesson. Or, talking about videos and the visual material, you can use pictures. So these are screenshots from one video. And if I tell you, okay, so we are going to talk about a foreign country in this lesson today, which country do you think is represented by these pictures? Based on these pictures, what would you say? You can write your answer in the chat box. Yeah. Okay, so we have there some different ideas, but most of you would say Japan. Yeah, it is supposed to be Japan. Or Korea. South Korea is quite a possible solution as well. So yeah, so then you can focus on those pictures, and you can ask your students to describe those pictures. So it is Japan. So we have there like this typical street with highlights there, with neon signs and so on. There's a Toyota car, there's a robot, and there's a sushi. So some very typical things for Japan. Okay, let me just see the, okay, great. Yeah, so you know, this wouldn't be very difficult for you to prepare this task, as you already have the video for your lesson, so you can just cut out some pictures from the video and use it as a lead-in activity. So that should be quite easy. Here, so that was activity 1. Or what you can do, if you have the main video for your lesson, you can play the whole thing or play only a part of it without sound at the beginning of the lesson. And because there are only the visuals, you can let your students guess what the lesson is going to be about. So it's again predicting, guessing. There might be some conflicting ideas, so it's also good. You never know what your students might come up with. Or a similar activity, it might be activity 3, fast forward, when you just go through the video very quickly, so that students, they don't get all the details from the video, but they get a glimpse of the video basically. And based on that, they can also predict and guess the topic of the lesson. So here, you know, just using the same video again and again, and you have 3 different ideas. So that would be the lead-in activity. After the lead-in, there's a gist task that follows. So again, I would like you to have a look at the 2 pictures that we have there. And there's the question 2A. Look at the photo of Pizza, a new restaurant in San Francisco. How do you think customs order and receive their food? So what would you think? If you have a look at those pictures, what's special about this restaurant? How do the people order and receive the food? Yeah, definitely. Tablet, an application, self-service, yeah, something's going on online. Perfect. Yeah. It might be in Japan. Yeah, self-service, yeah, order online. Perfect, yeah. So here you are predicting what we are going to see in the video, and this helps us basically to understand the video itself, even before playing it, because you know what to expect. So now let me try to play the second video where you can check your answers. What's this pizza restaurant about? So just a second and I will play the video.
These lunchtime diners in San Francisco are intrigued by a fully automated restaurant that looks more like a computer store with touchscreen ordering and freshly made meals delivered in a box.
Technology is allowing us to provide a product at an unprecedented speed. So the time-pressed consumer in the financial district really doesn't have the patience for the old ways of going out and buying food, interacting with somebody who might not hear your order correct.
So you were right, there is a self-service, people just order on this screen and then they receive the food in the box. I think this would really help us today, getting our food without talking to anybody, just receiving it from a box. But I don't think that we are there yet. Maybe just buying some electronics online, there are those boxes for that, but not for food as far as I know. Yeah, it can be very impersonal for someone. So this might be a good topic for a discussion with your students, because, you know, a topic that's one of my favorite. Food is one of my favorite topics because everybody likes food and everybody have different opinions on it. So you could have maybe a bit controversial discussion with your students whether this is really a good idea or not. And fast food, I think, is still very popular among teenagers and students, or maybe even business people who are very busy and who don't have time to cook. Okay, so yeah, moving on. So this was the gist task. Now we are going to have a look at a specific information task. So, you know, you would watch the video again and you would go into depth with your students. One of the ideas how you can do it is true false sentences. So here we have some ideas for the true false sentences, or it can be ordering a sequence of events. So students, they have different descriptions of what happened in the video, and they should put them in the correct order, how it happened. It can be comparing positive and negative facts. You have mentioned some in the chat box. So yeah, maybe negative. There's no human contact. It's very impersonal. Yeah, it's not very environmentally friendly, is it? All those plastic boxes. That's true. Yeah, people are going to be jobless. Yeah, another very negative thing about it. Positive things. It's very fast. So that's one of them. Is there anything else? Can you think of something positive apart from the speed? Hygienic. Yeah, clean. Yeah. True. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, it's clean. It's supposed to be very clean. This one looked super clean, very white. Okay. Yeah, so we can start thinking about this. Maybe some technological experts, they might develop something like that for masses so that we can use something like that. Okay, great. And what's next there is a personalized question again. So at the end, students, they should express their own opinions on the topic, what they think about it, how they relate to such a topic. Okay, So we can move on. So let's have a look at some communication and business skills. So communication skills or soft skills, they appear nowadays very often in course books. It's a widely discussed topic in the ELT world. So yeah, it's not only about teaching our students language itself, but it's about really teaching them some soft skills, something that they can use when they start working in companies or when they start studying at the university, and so on. So a question for you again. Could you name some communication or business skills? Could you write some ideas in the chat box, please? So we have the first one, negotiating, definitely, very important. Teamwork, perfect. Starting a communication, that can be really difficult. Yeah, being extroverted. For introverts, that can be difficult. Customer service. Yeah, I used to work in a customer service department in some international companies, and that can be really tough. Writing emails, yes, definitely. Understanding, brainstorming, yeah, socializing, politeness. Yeah, so as you can see, all different areas are included here. So I listed here some. So these are the business skills that appear in the business partner book, some example of them. So we have here building rapport, giving instructions, dealing with interruptions, closing a deal, dealing with disagreement, yeah, dealing with complaints, definitely working in customer service almost every day. And this would be more of the communication skills. So networking, presenting ideas, definitely presenting. It's very important nowadays. Negotiating, even leading. Yeah, maybe you have noticed, Pearson, there is a series of webinars now on soft skills. So all these things were covered there, like leadership skills, for example. It was Rachel Roberts, I think her name is, who was presenting those webinars. So that might be another idea for you to watch those. All right, great. So thank you for sharing the skills with us. And we are moving back here to how to use videos in connection with skills. So yeah, prediction, that's something that we do with our students. We try to train their prediction skills because this is something that they can use in their real lives as well. So in this lead-in activity, you compare two different cultures. One of them is a direct culture. So basically, people in this culture, they do not beat about the bush to say, they just express their ideas very clearly. They put their ideas bluntly. Sometimes they might be considered to be even rude if they don't use the right words, I would say. On the other hand, in indirect cultures, people are not as honest. They usually express themselves not as clearly, and they want to show respect for other people by doing it. Yeah. So now I would like to show you another video. You are going to see a situation where two guys are comparing these approaches. And at the end of the video, I would like you to tell me which of these approaches they are going to use in their future communication. So let's have a look.
Knock, knock. You're not answering your phone today.
Jack, sorry. Was that you a few minutes ago?
You look a bit tired, mate. What's up? Oh, having fun with the new markets project.
No. I mean, yes. Overall, so far so good. I've just got loads of work, and I'm getting more and more concerned about what's going on in Japan.
What do you mean concerned? Isn't Kenji here at the moment?
They're running about 3 weeks behind schedule, and I just don't see how we're going to make up the time.
3 weeks is not a concern. It's a disaster. What's going on?
Well, hold on. It's complex. Kenji doesn't have a great deal of experience, and Stephanie's busy with Mexico, so no time for Japan, and yeah, we're behind.
3 weeks behind.
I'm going to talk to Kenji about it later.
I suggest you go over there and have some strong words, sooner rather than later. Tell him that he needs to perform or he's out. Bit of straight talking wouldn't do any harm.
I know, but it's Japan. You can't do straight talking or you'll offend everyone.
Matt, you can't stereotype like that. Kenji's a professional. You need to tell him to his face what you expect and when you expect it.
Look, you may be right, but the guy's trying. Shouting at him isn't my style. I think I prefer to take a more gentle approach.
Yeah, but being gentle often gets you nowhere. If you don't fix this soon, you're going to have senior management complaining. Anyhow, it's your call. You know what I would do?
So, what do you think? Which approach the manager is going to use in the communication with Kenji, with this Japanese employee? What would you say? I think it was the manager in the dark shirt, the one who was sitting in the office when the other one came there, who's responsible for communicating with Kenji. So what would you say? Now the chat window disappeared for me, so I cannot see any answers. Okay, yeah, indirect. He will try to be direct, indirect. Yeah. So as I paused the video, or we stopped the video, now it's time for you to express your opinions. What would be better? What do you think that is going to happen next? How the manager is going to behave? So yeah, polite. Try to be direct. Yeah. So it can be there can be some pros and cons in each approach. So yeah, so you would let your students predict what's going to happen, and then you would play the second part of the video where they can confirm whether they were right or wrong. Okay, I hope that the connection is okay now. Perfect. So let's move on. Next slide. Yeah, or with videos, there's always a video script. If it's not in the student's book, it's definitely in the teacher's book. So you can use the video scripts in your lessons, especially if your students are a bit weaker and if they have some issues with understanding. You can help them with the script, or you can play subtitles. So here, so basically, this video, there were two options that could follow, direct and indirect, and both videos are present in the book. And here we have the scripts. So if you have a look at the texts, and if you have a look at the ones with blue lines, which approach is represented by the blue lines? What would you say? So which phrases do we have there? How are you doing? Have you got a few minutes? I know that you are very busy, but there's a slight delay. Yeah, how do we go forward? Yeah, this is very polite. This is the indirect approach, which he preferred in communication with this Japanese employee. If you contrast it with the red lines, I need to have a word. I'll come directly to the point. It's a major delay. I do worry. It's a serious problem. So you can see the big difference in the wording, yeah. So that's quite clear. And of course, by working with the scripts, your students learn the specific phrases as well. There can be some role plays, or you can, create some gaps there that your students would fill, etc. So working with the video script is another idea what you can do. Okay. Silent viewing, that's something we've already seen for the lead-in activity, but you can use it again. You can use it again, and you can ask a specific question. So, for example, here it would be, what kind of body language can you notice in the video? So let's say that in today's lesson you are going to talk about body language and gestures with your students, and you would start the lesson by showing them a video which plays without sound, and they should focus only visually on the body language. So that's the task for you. Please try to notice the body language and gestures from all different people in the video.
If I need to replace her, I need to do it soon.
Hi!
Paula, where did you come from?
Mexico, of course. I came all the way.
If I need to replace her, I need to do it soon.
Hi!
Paula, where did you come from?
Mexico, of course. I came all the way
How long are you here for?
just to bring you these.
No.
I'm just here for the week, but I have to see Matt now, and I'm already late. Let's catch up later.
Yeah?
Bye!
Thank you.
Good morning!
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
How was the flight?
Long, but good. And I'm excited to be here in London.
Excellent. Come on, let's go and get a coffee and catch up.
Sorry, some technical issues. I hope I'm back and that you can hear me again. I don't want to waste any more time on this video, so let's just move on. So yeah, I wanted to show you this video as a silent piece, but it didn't work for me, unfortunately. So yeah, Okay, okay, so let me just have a look at some of your answers about the gestures. Because the sound can be a bit distracting if you want your students to focus on the body language. So it might be a good idea to turn the sound off. So we have there smiles, hugs, kisses. So that's something very positive. Yeah, friendly, open gestures, yeah, moving of hands, eye contact, facial expression, surprise, yeah, hugs, kisses, definitely, yeah. Yeah, he has something unpleasant to tell her. Very good predicting skills, you are correct. There are some issues in the company. So as you can see, you can you can really understand a lot just by looking at the body language and gestures, and you can cover this topic with your students as well. This is a part of communication between people as well. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah, here we have some other ideas for silent viewing when there is no sound in the video. So you can play some unknown piece of the video to your students without sound, and your students, they can write a script and they can dub the video. On one hand, this can be quite time consuming. On the other hand, if you have bright students who have good sense of humor, they might come up with some very funny scripts. So I would give it a go if you have time for that. And then, different groups, they can have different ideas what the video might be about and so on. So be careful about the time, that might work for you. Or silent viewing in pairs. This would be better if we were all sitting together in one room during a seminar where we could demonstrate it. But I'll try to explain. So the idea in silent viewing in pairs is that you put your students in pairs. Always one student, let's say student A, goes and watches a video without the sound. Student B, he or she cannot see the video. Yeah. So one of them watches the video, the other one is sitting with their backs to the screen, for example. And once the video finishes, the students come together again, and student A should start describing what he or she has just seen in the video. Student B, he should have slips of paper where there are different events described from the video, and according to student's A description, he or she should put those descriptions into correct order. So yeah, it could be, I don't know, somebody enters a room, then he sits down, they open the window, and then they drink coffee, for example, and if student B has some doubts, you can ask some extra questions. So because because student B lacks the knowledge of the video, it might provoke some discussion about it. And this can be something, very basic. Those business videos wouldn't be ideal for this video because there are only people sitting around the table discussing something. But if you have some action videos, some good sources of such videos, for example, in the High Note course book for upper secondary students, there are some documentary videos. And in those documentary videos, there are all really like authentic material with all different areas covered. And there are even like some natural, from like natural world videos, let's say. So you could try this. Okay. Culture and accents. So let's have a look at this one. So here we are again comparing different cultural approaches. Here we are presented with culture A, where it is important to have consensus. So that means that all people, ideally all people in the group should agree on some solution. While in culture B, it's important to be decisive, and if they can't reach mutual decision, there's always one leader who decides. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at this video, and you tell me whether the approach which you are going to see is A, consensus, or B, being decisive. Hopefully this video is going to work better this time.
We think that the next step is to decide when exactly we would want to plan the launch.
Yes, I'm happy to have that conversation.
Great. Well, we think that it would be a good idea to keep things moving.
Absolutely.
So I suggest we plan to launch this year.
Okay.
In our experience, it's a good idea to use the summer. When the students aren't around, we can implement and test everything. Hopefully you IT guys will have a bit more time then. It's just easier to set everything up. So my advice is that we aim for a launch date in September.
I totally agree. Let's do that.
Okay, that's not far off. I think we should know a little bit more about the process. I just want to make sure that we're all being realistic.
It's realistic. Let's just do it. We can get into the process later. Okay, great. We're all agreed then.
Fantastic.
Okay, so they said we all agree then, but was it really culture A having consensus, or was it culture B being decisive? Yeah, we have definitely more B's here. Yeah, true. It was basically the two ladies who agreed on the decision. Definitely the gentleman wasn't happy about it. He was shaking his head. So definitely not. So perfect, great. All right, let's move on. We are getting closer towards the end of the presentation. Yeah, what you can do as opposite to watching silent videos is listening without a picture. So basically making it a listening activity. And this you can do with accents. Talking about accents with your students can be great fun, but I would say this would be for more advanced students because accents can be really difficult. So let's listen to this one, and I would like you to try to guess where does the second voice come from, because there's going to be in the first part of the listening there's a native speaker. You know, if you would have seen their faces, it would be if you saw their faces, it would be clear to you immediately where these people come from. But without seeing their faces, it's a bit more difficult, of course. So the first one, he's a native speaker, so I'm not curious in this one. But the second speaker in the listening, he's a non-native. So if you could tell me where he comes from, yeah, try to guess, please.
I got your email this morning. It wasn't exactly what I wanted to read. There are now really significant problems with increased cost and no clear timeline to sort out the technical problems. We can't run the project like this. Things have to change.
Okay. I'm surprised to hear this. You know, we're talking about a complex project and we have many other contracts happening over here.
Okay. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. So it seems I'm back on stage. So very short extract. But yeah, your guesses. Asia, but we have there quite a lot of Indias. And you are right, the guy was from India. Some IT expert from India. So perfect. Well done. All right. So let's move on. Yeah. Or you can expose your students to more accents. So maybe the first listening that we've just done was for more advanced students, but here we have an activity for lower level students. And if you think about it, there are more non-native speakers of English than there are native speakers. And in this business world, I would say that people more often communicate with people with some other non-native speakers of English, especially in our, in our region. It would be, for example, Germany as our main business partner, Poland, etc. So now, this is the last video, I think. So if you could tell me where these 4 people, Evelyn, Rodrigo, Marcus, and Hannah, come from. So let's have a look.
When you're in Germany, people are a bit more reserved to begin with. Once you've broken the ice and you got to know them, they will be your friends for life if they make friends with you. But initially, they're a bit more reserved, so don't be put off by that.
The workplace culture in Brazil is quite different.
When it's time for lunch, you always have lunch with someone. Right, you never have your lunch alone. So there's always usually more than one person. So it tends to be very friendly, which can be unhelpful at times because you want to do some work and be quiet, but people tend to be interactive. But at the same time, you have a very strong sense of team spirit, right? Because everybody's together there doing the same thing.
Good communication is essential in a work environment. It can present some challenges, as Marcus found out when he relocated from Sweden to the UK.
I thought I was very fluent in English when I lived at home in Sweden. But then when you actually come to live here, you realize that, the nuances and phrases that you don't know, at all. Doing your mistakes and saying the wrong things at the wrong time, but, quickly learning was fun.
The etiquette of communication can also vary. In Poland, people tend to be direct when they talk to each other.
You might be a little bit shocked that the Poles tend to be more abrupt, or that's how they will come across. The use of thank you and please, it's probably less widely used. The linguistic element or a cultural element doesn't demand that. So it's absolutely polite if you just say yes, no, and leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. So the video got stuck. I'm not sure like how much you could hear, whether it was understandable or not. But I can see from your answers that you are right. So Evelyn, she was from Germany, Rodrigo, Brazil, Marcus was from Sweden, and Hannah was from Poland, according to the book. Yeah. So this would be for lower level students as well. Okay. And we are slowly approaching the end of the presentation, so maybe I should speed up a bit. So maybe we can skip this, talking about cultural differences. Okay, so what I wanted to say in today's webinar, preparation is definitely crucial for our lessons. So prepare wisely and make the lessons enjoyable and relevant for your students. Your lessons should be authentic. Definitely you are authentic as a teacher, but also using authentic material help your students to be prepared for the real world. And materials that you can get either in books or online, there are plenty of them. If you have a look at Pearson books, there are usually some big companies who help to prepare materials for the books. So Pearson cooperates with BBC. So there are BBC videos in all different books from Pearson. In Business Partner, there are Financial Times cooperating. So another authentic source of information. Autonomy. Autonomous students, that's really something that we should try to reach in our lessons, that our students are autonomous, they are able to learn on their own. Especially nowadays, you know, studying at home can be really difficult. Yeah, make it fun. So, you know, mistakes happen, so you can just laugh at it. And then I'm sure you are going to be successful. Yeah, and now we are approaching two more things, two last points of the whole presentation. So there's a quiz, and there are the 3 samples that you can apply for. So first of all, the quiz. There are 2 quiz questions. There's going to be 1 winner for each question, and the winner is going to receive this game, Home English, Let's Chat About Sport and Free Time. So now I'm going to show you a question, and the first person to write the correct answer in the chat box is going to receive this book. Yeah, and it's about Financial Times, because you can read some articles from Financial Times in the Business Partner book. So are you ready? So type your answers in the chat box, okay? But I'm afraid that we can distribute the prizes only within the Czech Republic or Slovak Republic. So I'm sorry if we have some listeners from different places. So in which year was the Daily Financial Times founded? Yeah, I think Barbara Hrenková was the first one. I hope that we are. I hope that I was correct. I'll note down the name. Yeah, I think it was Barbara who wrote there first that it was year 1888. But we are going to check the name with my colleagues so that it's really fair and it's the first person. Please stop writing, stop writing. We have the winner. Yeah, we can really follow the chat box with my colleagues, but I think it was Barbara who mentioned it first there. Yeah, there are a lot of answers, but I think I saw it first with Barbara. So we will check that. There are more people from the office watching this, yeah, so I'm not the only one assessing the winner, but I think it was Barbara. There's still one chance for you to win. So just a second. We'll have a look at the bottom of the chat box. Okay, so second question when you can try. Where does the owner company of Financial Times come from? The current owner. Beata. Yeah, we have Beata as the winner. Beata Kerekova, I think. Yeah, Beata Kerekova, Japan. Japan is correct. Okay, I'm just noting down the name. So Beata, congratulations. Barbara, congratulations to you as well. So the owner company is called Nikkei, and they are based in Japan. So congratulations. But don't be sad if you were not the first ones, because there is still one more thing, and these are the free samples. So thank you very much for your attention today. There are more webinars to come today and tomorrow, and then in 2 weeks. And now, next to the chat window, you can see there the polls bookmark. And my colleagues, they should publish there the application form for one of these books. So if you would like to receive one of those books, Business Partner or High Note, you can choose this in polls, and we are going to contact you via email, and we would send you the books. They are for free from us, as a thank you for your participation. Okay, yes, and you are already participating, so that's perfect. Yeah, so really feel free to tick there whether you would like to receive High Note, a brand new book for upper secondary students, high schools, gymnasiums, etc., or Business Partner, Business English book. Or if you are not interested in these books, you can just put there no thank you. That's fine as well. So thank you very much for your very active presentation. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully it was useful for you. And I shouldn't take any more of your time. I think my colleague is now going to take over. So thank you very much. Have a great day and take care.